What's up, guys? I feel inspired to talk about fear. False expectations appearing real. I've been spending some time kind of in my meditation flow. I'm just trying to purify energy, man. You know, I do think that the heart has an upper and a lower heart. The upper heart is our connection to God, family. Whether or not you are agnostic or atheistic, perfectly fine with me, man. What I'm trying to say is the vibration and the feeling of friendship, of somebody care about you, of a little puppy dog, okay? Some people are cut off from the higher heart and, they're numb. You see a cute kid, fucking, why are you always in my way? You see people having a good time, they're jealous. They're jealous that you have love and they don't. I've been a hater and a very jealous person. When I see people finally fitting in, when I see people finally achieving their goals, am I going to get jealous or am I going to be inspired? Inspiration is the higher throat. Jealousy is the lower throat. The lower heart is trauma, man. It's all the shit that we've been through. And I think many of us have been through a lot, as children especially. The heart is liberated when we can heal the trauma and the pain. I don't know if it's stored in there as a percentage of files and we just have to process the files and release, right? It takes healing. You have to prioritize healing. If you really want to be liberated, we have to choose freedom. It's freedom. We have to choose it to be liberated. It's easy to just get stuck and then bored and then medicate and then watching shows, I don't think there is a centralized entity that controls this planet. I don't. That is the one thing I don't agree with. To say that history has been modified by aliens is a fucking crazy thing to say. Could it be true? I don't know. I mean, yes, I guess, but I feel in my gut, this is the language of fear, actually. This is the boogeyman. Is the boogeyman real? When you're a little kid, have any of you known anyone that got eaten by a boogeyman when they were a kid? No, we're all still alive, okay? We thought it was real. I had a terrible, watched this horror movie in middle school called, I don't know, The Grudge, and I was traumatized. I was terrified. I slept under the cover. I was so afraid of this entity, right? Maybe it feeds on fear, So don't watch creepy shit. The lower heart is demonic in potential because you can harvest somebody's fear. That's really what it is. The things that you have given your fear to are the things that subconsciously have taken some of your light. In a way, there's a reclamation of fear, but that actually happens, in my opinion, in the solar plexus, in the mind. In the mind, there is a data bank of all of the fearful things, all of the trauma. I don't know if there's multiple lives or not. Maybe there's just one. I don't know. You can't prove it, okay? So let's focus on this only life that we have and these only memories that we have, I think it's kind of pointless to speculate if history is not actually real and there was a Atlantis and it's under the ground. There's no way to prove this, It sounds crazy, I don't know. The bottom line is who cares? Are we safe? And can I make my dreams come true? I'm sorry, that's the only thing that's really driving me. Are we safe? I mean, I think so. Look around. I feel pretty safe, Okay, can I make my dreams come true? I think so. What does it take? I think we have to heal the pain. We're building communities. The community to me is a portal, an ascension portal to source energy. It just so happens that I'm talking about business and growth, but it's a portal of healing. That's what your soul family is, and that's what your soul family does. We're all in this together, guys. I love you guys, even though we're strangers. I do honestly think we may be in a cluster of souls. That's the only explanation I have to why it's resonating so fast. I spent most of my life cut off and lonely and not having very many friends. and to not judge somebody for what they look like, and to not say I'm better than you, is to say I see myself in you. I may have some things I'm good at. I may have some things I'm not good at. I can be a bit of a lunatic, I can be a rager. I can say things in my pain body, and I realize, I shouldn't have said that because that hurt somebody's feelings and I was rude and I made a judgment. Maybe the judgment could be fair or justified, or other people share the same judgment. It's still a judgment. I'm sorry. It is so liberating. It liberates you to apologize to people, even when you think they're actually the one that offended you. I am really sorry I offended you. I'm sorry that it's not even that I hurt you. I'm sorry that we've all been hurt. I'm sorry that someone has hurt you before, just like someone has hurt me, and we've all just been hurt. And we want to stop hurting each other, and I'm sorry that you experienced that. Okay? Try to give 3 times more than you take, and by take, I don't mean you plunder someone's mind and activate their fear like a demon, No. What are we afraid of, guys? I'm afraid of putting myself out there. Okay, I don't fucking care about these aliens under the ground that may not even be real. Okay, what if they actually was not true? Then all these people are literally schizophrenically paranoid. It's either paranoid schizophrenia or truth, or a little bit of both, right? Who I don't fucking care is the thing. I don't think evil is allowed to interfere with us. I think there are contracts. I think Earth has shifted somehow vibrationally, and maybe in 2012, the end of the Mayan long count. In India, they believe that 26,000 years of dark, 26,000 years of light. So if it was a dark cycle, you're allowed to pillage with less of a karmic consequence. That actually does make sense to me. If the history books are correct, or anything close to correct, there was a period where you could rule imperially and perhaps get away with it. Maybe there was no karma. Maybe we all treat each other as game on. In a video game, you KO the other person, In real life, that's not a very nice thing to do. But in a game, if reality was a simulation and this is just a game or a dream, then you could play that game and there would be less karma. I actually believe the cycle has ended, I think probably in 2012. The Mayans knew something about time. There are so many weird things about portals in that area of the world, the Stargate. I have heard these things. Some of the Stargates are still operated by light, if that was true. But this could all just be fucking stupid things that are viral conversations, I don't know if that's true, but I do think that Earth actually became net positive. You can't talk about these fearful things and just let people be afraid of dark entities. No, the light is actually in dominating control of the stargates, or the consciousness of human beings has become more positive than negative. We are craving healing because we all know subconsciously the entire world just needs some rest and to heal. It would be amazing if we could cut the burden of life down to 25 hours a week. That would give us so much healing if we could afford a reasonable lifestyle. The opportunity that is granted to every single one of us is you can do it. You can build this online thing. You can be an influencer. You can influence people. You're going to have to do about 3 times more work, And the only way that I can have enough energy to pull this off is I'm constantly healing and recharging, which means I'm constantly having to liberate my own pain, and try to connect to that source energy, try to connect to God. That is the flow state. That is the Tao. That is the Holy Spirit. It's the same thing. It's just the higher heart. The higher heart can connect to source energy. Source energy can keep you going indefinitely. But the price to pay, there is a price to use source energy as well. There's always going to be a tax, man. The tax for the light is you must use this energy to heal people. In addition to get what you want in life, you should try to heal 3 times more than you care about growing your own business. That's the divine frequency in 3s. I don't know why I'm saying it. I'm channeling this, but I don't know. I've been watching this guy's content, and some part of me does think he is connected to a higher soul. I think some of the things he's saying is wrong. There are no centralized evil forces that have any power over us. They're not allowed to. Why? Because the karmic penalty has become very expensive. There is a tax, I believe, you know, I think they're allowed to continue some of the old programs, but you can't interfere with the plan of light because it's another 26,000 year cycle. Before the switch, you could probably get away with it with much less of a tax. The interest rate was very low if you used devious means. To conquer a neighboring country and put them into your empire is the most vampiric thing a human being could do. And we made marble statues of them and glorified them as gods, Viking gods, okay? To pillage. The karmic penalty of doing that has become, I believe, very steep. So they're not going to do it. Don't worry, guys. They don't want to max out their karma, okay? So they're on their way out, okay? The newness is on their way in. Because what these people need to hear is, are they safe? Yes, absolutely. You are safe and they cannot interfere with the divine plan. Don't worry about it, bro. What are we afraid of? We're afraid of exposure. We're afraid of growing so fast that now people are looking at me. If you get on page 1, you are literally in a network with some people that are like really rich, okay? Or have really big networks. That's intimidating. Am I really ready to step into my greatness now? That's fucking terrifying. I've done okay in my life, but it's not like I blew it out of the park too often. Am I really worthy to be in the same room with a billionaire? I mean, dude, Tom Billio is number 2 in business on page 1. He's a billionaire, bro. If he's not, I mean, who cares? 100 million plus is the highest stratosphere of wealth, in my opinion, anyways. 100 million, a billion, it doesn't matter. It's the highest echelon, okay? Then it's 1 to 10-ish, and then it's probably 500. There's just steps of, does it matter? No. What matters is, would it be fun for you to climb the ranks? Would it be fun for you to become more influential in a good way? Would it be fun for you to heal and grow together? Because that's the opportunity that's given to us, guys. If we are willing to heal and grow the community together, we will get much faster exposure, but it's a willingness to process the pain of others. We're bringing them out of the lower heart into the higher heart. It's a lot of work, man, and it's exhausting. And if you feel like you need to catch your breath, I will just kind of wear matte colors or like a gray or like, earth tone. You can shield your energy and just recumulate. When you want to get back to work, you plug back in. It's not to the matrix, it's to the divine operating system. The divine operating system is you will grow very fast, but you're going to have to do a lot of healing because many people are suffering. For someone to want to be with you and give you lifetime value, you need to really think about this. This is divine business. This is not plundering business. Divine business is, why would this person want to stay with you for the rest of your life and give you a subscription? Even if you have to think about this. If it was premium or VIP, why would they want to do that? It would be because you were giving them constant value that never ends. What is the only value that I could give somebody that never ends? A relationship, but healing and inspiration and all the positive things, the chakras, energy. I have a lot of energy, guys, and I do, If you don't like me as a human being and my personality sometimes annoys you, I'm sorry, but at least run with me, guys. I have the power to do this. I have the power to do this. Okay? We can get over disagreements. Maybe you can turn an argument into a best friend, okay? Had an argument with Nathaniel. Who knows? Maybe Nathaniel is the most highest dimensional fucking guy, and I totally judged him and blew him off, and actually, he is in my soul family. Then it would be the correct thing for me to do to heal that relationship. Maybe not. Maybe they're a lower consciousness person. We go back and forth all the time. This is another conversation we could have. Now let's go to the lower heart. When we're in our lower heart, I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. Most of the world is suffering, they're tired. They're ready to be healed, but they don't prioritize the healing. They're ready. but they're waiting around on you to activate them. They need you to go out and activate them. So, in the higher heart, yes, we're healing 3 times more than we're actually asking for payment. That's the divine law. That's how you grow a permanent money tree. You do 3 times more, this will grow to such a huge level, it will pay you for the rest of your life. That's the only way that it actually makes sense. If you disagree, tell me. What else could it logically be? That is the divine law of sacred growth. Okay? The demonic law is I'm going to plunder your energy and take it from you. You know, maybe I give you information or my network or payment, but it's a selfish thing. And many corporations operate in this way. They're going to take a tax from you and they're going to take a cut. Why do you call it a cut? Words are spelling. It spells, you know, a cut. They're taking a tax, right? They're taking your energy. So that's the order of the lower heart. You can build in that regard. It means I'm paying you and I expect you to do a good job, but it's exhausting to build in the lower heart. It's so much better to build in the upper heart. You know, the upper heart is, no, I don't need to take your energy. I am supremely capable of energizing myself through fitness, through mindset, through source energy, through healing. Okay? Anyways, that's my message. I don't know where this came from, but I just felt compelled. This guy is I do believe, helping me tune into my soul, to tell you the honest truth. Like a download. Anyways, guys, fear. Am I ready to do this? Am I really ready to make the switch? Do I even deserve 100 an hour, 100 a session? How long are my sessions going to be? 9 sessions for $1,000. They're going to be as long as you want them to be. You know, if you want fucking 3 hours, 9 times, I'll give it to you for $1,000. That is a insane discount for my time. Okay. If you want, you tell me, I will try to give you as much time as I can. Okay. 3 hours is a little bit ridiculous. Okay. About an hour, in my opinion, it would be worth about 45 minutes. I'm happy to double that if you're my first customer. First person that gives me $1,000, I'm going to give you twice as much time and energy. What do I get for the time to do a session? You need to answer this in your own head for yourself, you guys. What do I'm going to give them for them to pay me $1,000? 1,000's a good first number to have. It's a medium ticket number. It's not a high. I think high ticket is more like 2.5 to 6K is more high ticket to me. But 1,000's middle ticket. I believe each and every single one of you is ready and deserves to make $1,000 for your time. How much time? I don't know. We'll figure it out. What do I give them? You give them everything that you've got, man. You give them your love. You give them your support. You give them your cuteness. You give them your intelligence. You give them your motivation. You give them anything and everything that you can, and that comes from my heart and in my soul. I'll give you everything that I have. I don't know what you would need until our hearts connect. You do it. The way that we're supposed to do coaching calls, you guys, is we're supposed to connect with our higher hearts, and we see if they're struggling and if there is pain in the lower heart. We heal each other. Sometimes I go into this pain. I've been feeling heavy today. I appreciate you guys because I know some of you guys are in your higher heart and you've been helping me out. We go back and forth, guys. That's why we heal each other and we help bring each other. It's a better ROI of your energy, your healing energy, to connect with other healers because they're able to go into the higher heart faster than others. They've just been able to spend more time there. They have liberated more of their trapped energy and their pain. Okay? You prioritize the healers first. This is what's so amazing and what's going to be so crazy about the new way of doing business is it's about healing. It's really just about healing right now, guys. 3 times more healing than we really building anything. We're building a network of healing. I know that sounds like stupid, but bro, you have a money group. Yes, I know how to drive business, dude, and I know how to slay like a goddamn fucking lunatic. But it's not about that, man. We go there when we're ready to go there. When we're not ready to go there, we heal. Okay, there's nothing to worry about. You're safe. This is a safe world. The politicians are all caught up in their own drama games. They don't give a fuck unless you're worth 9 figures. And then maybe they try to pull you to different sides, but you stay in the light. For an ordinary person, no, they're not going to interfere with us. Actually, you're not allowed to interfere with the divine plan, period. I believe that. I believe that the penalty for doing that is so steep that, you know, not only would it hurt them to violate karmic law, but you have angels, you have forces of light protecting you. They're not going to allow you any harm because you are needed for the ascension plan. It's in the universe's best interest to protect, the ones that are doing the most healing, guys. So there is no fear. There's no imminent threat of external danger. What is fearful is just eat clean, be a nice person, don't try not to troll too much. That's all you can do. There's nothing to worry about, okay? The fear honestly is internal, is afraid to put myself out there, afraid of rejection, afraid of asking for money, afraid of even posting about money. I posted about my $1,000 ask in the most gentle fucking way I have ever done that, okay? I've closed $1,000, $10,000, $40,000. Well, I didn't really close that deal, but I helped, set that appointment when I was working in solar. It was like a 40, 50K, maybe a 60K solar system. I didn't close it, but I have closed many, 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 many high ticket sales, It's not about that, guys. It's about, I don't have fear to ask for money if I believe in what I'm doing. And so that's why I quit a lot of those jobs. I just didn't believe it was really worth as much as we were charging. We were charging them very high premiums. And, I'd rather do my own thing. I want to grow a money tree. I want LTV, How can I give life? To get lifetime value, we have to give lifetime value, which means we need to give life. We need to heal the hearts and the souls of this world. We need to take care of each other and be there for each other and encourage each other and be happy and cute and sweet. That's how you get infinite LTV. You destroy that LTV when you argue, when you read it the wrong way, when you judge someone, when you go into petty drama and you play stupid ego games, That's when you start hurting. You can actually go from the higher heart to the lower heart when we choose arrogance, when we get offended, when we are bitter and we hold on and we dwell on the pain. The pain body loves to dwell on the person that hurt us. It feels good in a way. It gives us a sick pleasure to dwell in victimization. I was a victim. That's the fuel of the lower demonic world. It is victimhood. It is justifying, wrath because of grievances. An eye for an eye is the old world way of thinking. Well, you threw the first stone, so I'm going to annihilate you now, and you say that that's just because of, oh my God, Duran is now fucking late for the job. This is number one thing that drives me crazy about him. He is very poor at time management. He's supposed to help me drop off this couch, and he doesn't know how to manage his schedule, but he is consistent at least. But this is just annoying now, right? Bro, you're fucking with my business now because anyways, disorganized. How do you balance out lower heart and higher heart? In the lower heart, bro, you're fucking annoying me because now you're late for a job. On the higher heart, it's like, I'll ask for an extension of time, but this does not reflect very well on me professionally, and you should know that, dude. Anyways, yeah, so that's it for now, but just tune in to healing, guys. Permanent LTV is on giving someone lifetime value. The only way we can really give someone lifetime value is if we're consistently putting healing, inspiration, hope, and motivation into our groups. More than we are trying to get sales. You have to understand that. At least 3 times more light than trying to close a deal. That is a fair frequency. You give 3 times more than you ask for, I believe that's fair. You are only taking 33%, you are giving 67%. To me, that's pretty damn fair. That's very generous. Most of the world does not do that. But I believe that's actually the divine frequency. That will give you the highest LTV. It takes the most upfront work, but it gives you the highest permanent value for the rest of your life. I believe that, So I'm going to give 3 times more than I'm even going to ask for. I've already done 4 hours of coaching call for free. I hope my energy was valuable. I don't know if it was worth $200 a call. I think it was, but I don't know. That's up to you guys to decide if you want to give me a testimonial or not, you know? So I will give, if I give both of them $1,000 of my time, then yes, we'll value at a hundred a call, but I really, have made much more than that many, many, many times in my best energy. So if I'm going to give you my best energy, I do think it's probably worth more like 300 plus right now an hour. That takes balls, but it's like, but I have made 100, 200 an hour many times, when I was at the peak of my momentum, So if I give my absolute very best, I do think it's worth more than that. That's the only way it can logically make sense if you want to hit a crown or a rocket or a diamond. That's the only thing that actually makes sense. How can I give $10,000 of value? You're gonna have to work 3 times harder, bro. Why the fuck else would you be worth more? You gotta put in 3 times more than you have been. That's exhausting. I know. You gotta heal. I know. It's constantly draining. I know, right? To have the ultimate life, God requires us to perform at the ultimate level. You have to be a champion. You have to be a champion level producer. I wake up at 6. I go to the gym, right? I usually am working all day long if I can. I'm healing as much as I can until I fucking burn out. If I burn out, I just try to do my best to recover. I play mindfulness audiobooks. I play, guided meditations. I'm constantly tuning in to higher frequency, influencers, you know? So it's a job, bro. You can recharge your energy much faster, but it requires you to stop watching so much television and playing games and watching Netflix and just goofing off with your friends. Okay? If you want to go turbo speed and you're asking for a rocket or a star or a crown, and how can I tell you this with authority when I haven't achieved it? I have achieved this in other businesses, just not in this, okay? I have hit the frequency. I just haven't done it in this kind of a business. All right. So I am operating on a hypothesis. We will see if my hypothesis is in fact correct or not. Numbers don't lie, dude. I fucking hit 997 in 11 days. Okay. If that was money, that would be like me hitting star and rocket in another 11 days. Okay. If that was money, that would be me hitting rocket and star in, I don't know, 33 days. Who knows? I don't know. All I can do is just my very best. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy? How many people would hate me? If I hit star and rocket in 33 days from now, you would probably I hope you would not hate me. I hope that you would love me, okay? If you hit star and rocket before me and I was struggling for 6 months, that would be very difficult for me to give you love and praise. But you know what? I would say, fucking good for you, man. You outperformed me and you did better than me. You healed more, you loved more, you heard more, you listened more, you cared more. You sent me the cute emojis even though you're tired as fuck and you're working 14 hours a day, trying not to run out of energy, trying so hard to just, dude, I get it. This is so hard, but the reward is so great and you're in early on this. School has not achieved critical mass at all. It's like 20% there. You're here way ahead of everybody else. You're already ahead of the curve. If you can hang in there, you're going to create LTV forever. Permanent money. How much is Goose's school group worth if he sold it? Probably $10 million. I'm not even joking. I think he has the number one group on all of school in terms of spiritual energy or friendly energy or just happy. Dude, no other group is like his group. They're all burnt out, just talking about tech and sales. It's not a connection in the heart. I believe Goose's group is in the higher heart. He has an entire fucking group that is in higher fifth dimension, Probably is worth like $10 million if anyone offered to buy his group out, and he might sell it and then just build tech, right? Permanent LTV value, probably because Goose has been, I think Goose is a healer and a friend and a smart guy, Okay, now he's telling me he's going to be an hour and a half late, and that really pisses me off. You should have just told me, dude, that you're going to be late. Yeah. Anyway, so how do we deal with disciplinary action when I don't pay him hourly, but I am paying him for the job. How do you deal with someone who is just bad at time management and constantly burnt out? Do I get annoyed or do I find a replacement? I don't know. These are the things that we have to deal with. These are the growing pains. Much love, guys. I got to get ready to go do this. Well, now he's going to be late. So now I have to tell the customer, hey, this guy's usually responsible, but yeah, he's not. 85% of the time he's on time. 85% of the time he's actually a really good mover. 15% of the time it's like, come on, dude. You know, why can't you put in realistic timelines? That's the one thing that he really struggles with. Everything else he's excellent at. My buddy Duran. He's my number one moving guy. I made a lot of money with him. You know, I have to remember that. You have made a lot of money with him. Okay. Don't be all like a manager. He's your buddy. You know, so things happen. People are just really tired right now. It's been really slow lately. Okay. Try to have a heart. So I'll ask them for a time extension, dude, but this is kind of unprofessional, man. You know, all right. Much love.